Is it time to abandon ship in the Big 12? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Reef the Jack Reefer, and I got another banger video for you today. But first off, baby, let's be special. Like, subscribe, comment, let's grow this channel, be part of the team. Let's turn this channel into something special. So, it was reported today that apparently Kansas and Iowa State had conversations with the Big Ten Conference about possibly leaving the Big 12 for the Big Ten. Now, this comes after the news leaked yesterday about Oklahoma and Texas trying to jump ship from the Big 12 to the SEC. I'll get back to that later. Now, it makes sense that Kansas and Iowa State are trying to leave, since the two biggest players, the founding partners that are embedded in the mortar and cement of the Big 12 Conference, are trying to leave. So without mortar and cement, a house falls apart, bricks crumble. Now, it's interesting to note that you have not officially been offered a spot in the SEC, but that's just what reports are linking them to. Obviously, Texas A&M, Missouri are up in arms about it and don't want them to join, but we'll see what happens about that. They need 3/4 majority vote to get into the conference, but we'll see if the SEC extends an offer. I imagine they will, because apparently these talks have been going on for a while. But back to Kansas and Iowa State. In terms of the Big Ten, it makes a lot of sense to add Kansas. While Kansas isn't a powerhouse for football, they are a absolute blue blood when it comes to basketball. And Big Ten, they're trying to catch up the ACC in terms of basketball. So I would rank the ACC 1 in terms of conference for basketball, and Big Ten 2. And I think potentially adding Kansas, that narrows the gap significantly between the ACC and the Big Ten. Now, Iowa State, their basketball program, they've been up and down. They were good when they had TJ Horton-Tucker there, but it's gone down recently. Their football program, absolute studs right now. But we'll see how long they can keep Matt Campbell around, because he's got a lot of suitors, a lot of teams that are trying to pull him away from Iowa State, because he's an up-and-coming head coach. He's young, too. He's very young, which fits the trend of these young head coaches that both NFL, Sean McVay and Zach Taylor and Matt Rule, these young NFL head coaches, that trend has continued down to the NCAA, where people are hiring younger coaches that they think are more relatable to the players. Now, Kansas and Iowa State leaving the Big 12 also would make things a lot easier for Oklahoma and Texas, because if the conference self-implodes, everybody tries to leave and go anywhere else, they can possibly get out of the conference sooner and go wherever they want to go, and maybe get out of paying that $70 million plus that they would owe the conference, which I'm sure they'd be very happy about. And for Kansas and Iowa State, the fact that they're trying to get out, too, just kind of signifies a readjusting going on in the conference. And the conference is kind of self-imploding, which this happens every once in a while. It's kind of cyclical. I mean, the Big East self-imploded along with other conferences in the past. But I think the playoffs, the changes that are coming to the playoffs, are going to create an emphasis for teams to try to realign and give themselves the best shot to get into the playoffs, because they want part of the money. It's with college football, it's turning into a money grab. And colleges are going to be very, very particular about what conference they want to play in, because they want the most money. And why would they be concerned about that now? Because businesses are now starting to pay the athletes directly through these NIL deals instead of donating money to the university. So somebody like the Miami, for example, how there was that gym owner that he's probably a heavy booster for Miami. I mean, he donating to the team $500K. That's a lot of money. And usually that money would probably go to the university, the athletic department. But now that he can directly pay the players, he's putting it directly to the players and not the school. And I think that's going to be happening around the country as businesses go to the players directly instead of donating to the athletic department of the schools. So these schools are going to try to make up for it by searching for the best TV deal they can get, the most money they can get, and that's just going to cause some realignment. Now, I think this kind of signifies that it's time for there to be a drastic change in the leadership of the NCAA. I think it's time for there to be a commissioner and not a president. Because there's a difference between a commissioner and a president. So currently the president of the NCAA is Mark Emmert. She's done an admirable job trying to keep things together. But look at the United States, for example, our government. The president, he's got committees for everything. Whether it's Bush, Biden, Trump, Obama, it doesn't matter. He's got committees for everything. And same deal with the NCAA. He's got committees that if they're suspending a player or investigating a school, there's different committees, which is a good check and balance system. But the way college football is moving, the amount of money that's generating, it's time for a commissioner. You don't see the professional leagues, you don't see the NHL, the MLB, the NFL with presidents. They're with commissioners. And the difference between the president and the commissioner is the commissioner is directly involved in all decisions. He doesn't have a committee. Roger Goodell doesn't have a committee for when, so let's say in the past when Josh Gordon's been suspended for weed, alcohol, whatever he's been suspended for. He's been suspended for a lot of things. But Roger Goodell had direct input into that. While there was a committee that helped him with it, he was the one that had the final say on it. And I think that it just kind of shows leadership and directions. The NCAA, it's kind of turning into the Wild West money grab right now. They need a Roger Goodell, a Dana White, somebody like the late, great David Stern to come, have a vision, and direct the way that college athletics are going to head. Now, obviously, football and basketball are going to be the emphasis for this, but they need a visionary, a leader to come in there, become the commissioner, and direct the revenue and what these schools are doing, how they're doing. Overall, I think a commissioner would create more unity rather than the current division where as long as you're abiding by the rules that the president, the NCAA, has, it's kind of the Wild West. You can do whatever you want, such as Texas leaving the Big 12. Now, if there was a commissioner in place that had more input, more control over everything, he may not allow that to happen. He may say, no, you're staying put. I mean, the NFL, you don't see the Cleveland Browns saying, hey, yeah, we're going to switch conferences. We're going to go from the AFC to the NFC. We think we can make more money if we go join the NFC North with Dallas, New York, Philadelphia. Excuse me, they're not in there. That's the NFC East. But you get what I'm saying. Overall, I think it's time for more leadership in the NCAA and there to be a commissioner, not a president. That's all I got for you today, guys. Hope you enjoy the video. Tell somebody you love them. Deuces.